talking about you gotta spin it down, man. You over there calling that grandma's house. 45 minutes, we probably won't even be back at school.
Well, you couldn't leave campus. That's the only thing.
Okay. Well, still would have found a way.
Yeah.
I know you did.
Yeah. Bird flu is all, throughout other countries as well.
Still eating them birds. I know back then you was always out probably in the woods or in the creek somewhere.
Right about that. We here.
Pops, how you feeling today?
Feeling great, feeling great. Another beautiful day in the neighborhood.
Most definitely. All right, we'll just hop right into a few questions. Who would you say had it better, my generation or yours?
Well, all depending on, what you consider better. See, we was more of a outdoors generation. Mm-hmm. The generation nowadays is more of online, social media, and, I don't think they really know how to socialize with each other as much as we did growing up. Mm. So socializing is one of the big differences that I think between our generations. What are your thoughts?
You had a great point there. I definitely say, feel like social media definitely ruined a lot of things, changed a lot of things as well. Socializing, like you said, I know back then you was always out probably in the woods or in the creek somewhere.
Right about that.
Nowadays,
we were always outside.
Kids don't even be outside nowadays, not as often. Even
not as much.
Even when I was growing up, I was outside a lot, but it just seemed like it just kept diminishing. But
well, and then it's a lot more dangerous just being outside these days. So you kind of want to protect your children, by not having them outside as much, but you still disenabling them. So the thing I would suggest to parents is be outside with your kids.
Right.
Especially if you want to keep them protected. Because there are a lot of things that can happen, being outside.
Okay. So what do you think about, say, like the music or the entertainment then versus now?
So the entertainment then was mostly musicians. Now it's like all computerized stuff. I don't think there are a lot of true musicians out there like they used to be. We had different bands. Most of all the groups were bands. Now you've got mainly solo performers, and people might write their music, but it's mostly generated on some type of computer system.
What you trying to say? Their lyrics? Somebody writing their own lyrics?
No, the music itself.
Oh, okay. Oh, you mean like the beats or something?
Right.
The actual music. Yeah, you did definitely have more bands back in the day. People playing instruments, as you would say, the sounds and the actual beats. But
now you got keyboards and other music electronical components that create those same sounds as instruments. So you don't really need bands. I guess it's a little bit less expensive to have a band than to actually have that equipment.
I didn't even think about that aspect of just the music itself, the sound and having bands, and like you don't see many people with the guitar now or on the piano and just playing the drums versus, well, other than being in a high school band or something, but not actually musicians.
Right. I think the last band type musician that we've seen in most recent years is Bruno Mars.
Right. I was thinking the same thing. Maybe Silk Sonic.
Yeah.
Bruno.
So they use a lot of bands and a lot of instruments.
Yeah, which is like that.
Which is good for this culture, for this generation.
Yeah.
To see how it was done, how it can continue to be done.
Yeah, I like that though. Very natural.
Tell me about the music, that we listen to. Tell me, more about how you feel about the music of this genre as compared to what we used to listen to back in the day.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. Just like technology, everything is constantly changing. The evolving, and music is just different. Music is way different. I mean, it's a few. See, back then, you did mention, a lot of bands, and those bands were also, like, those musicians were also singing more, or there was more R&B, and, that type of vibe, versus nowadays, I'm not to say that we don't have R&B or, people singing, but it's just a different sound.
Gotcha.
Rap music sounds, totally different versus MC, back then, or a Tupac or whatever. But the thing about today is, like, now I can listen to the old music and the new music.
Yeah, so you got a wide repertoire of musical interests. Mm-hmm. So, hell, we listen to a lot of old schools, some days, and a lot of days we'll listen to new school. Yeah. All just depend on what vibe you're in at that moment.
Just depending on the mood.
Yeah.
Whatever tone you're trying to set. But definitely, that's the thing I can say about it now is, like, if I'm feeling like I want to listen to some 80s R&B, pull out the Jodeci, my boots and my jean shorts or whatever. Hey, all right, let's talk about the difference from back when you were growing up. What about dating? Dating then versus now?
Well, dating then, it was all about being out, socializing. Mm-hmm. We didn't have social media. We didn't have cell phones. We had dial-up phones. I mean, I think about the days you had to spin a dial on the phone just to make a phone call. Right. If you mess up, you got to start all the way back over. And we didn't have cell phones where you can just add a contact. You memorize numbers, or you always had a piece of paper or something to write a number down. So it was more personalized interactions.
Right.
So when you met someone and you wanted to date, you had to ask for their phone number. They had to write on a piece of paper. Mm-hmm. If you didn't have a phone at home, you had to go to the payphone and call.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of generation now has never seen a payphone, the one that's actually working.
Make me think, you talking about you got to spin it down, man. You over there calling their grandma's house. Who this little boy on the phone trying to... No, she can't take no phone calls. I know you heard that. That sounds a little too familiar back in your time, man.
She can't take no phone calls. Oh well, I'll just see her at school. But now you got online schools, right? And different things that kids don't get a chance to interact as much. I mean, I don't know how it's done now in schools. I think they go to lunch and they don't even really have a recess break or whatever, maybe 15 minutes, But back then we got 30 minutes to an hour. We have lunch and then, just a little break in between, and that's where kids would, normally interact more.
And this was what, high school, middle school,
elementary, middle, and high school.
Nah, ain't no recess, man. Go to lunch, boom, right back to class. I mean, man, y'all had it cool. Man, what?
You go to lunch, you got about 45 minutes for lunch.
That sounds lovely.
You eat, you go chill outside. If it's raining outside, you go in the gym, go in the band room, or, just stay in the cafeteria. But you could not go back into the school building itself during that 45 minutes.
Wow.
And then, schools now, well, I went to a small school, but, those 5A schools now, they probably have, 3-4 different lunch periods?
Maybe, depending on the schools, yeah. Nah, that sounds crazy, man. Can only imagine how that was. See, they know they did right. They knew they had to get rid of that. Because nowadays, 45 minutes, we probably won't even be back at school.
Well, you couldn't leave campus. That's the only thing.
Okay. Well, still would have found a way.
Yeah.
I know you did.
Yeah. But each way off the campus and back home, there was always somebody that's going to catch you.
Oh, yeah.
Just one person always catch you.
Since we're doing the old school versus new school, what is some dating advice that you can give from your experience, or just growing up?
Well, you got to be genuine. Can't be fake. You got to be genuine in what you're doing, what you say, and how you act. That's the biggest piece of advice I can give you.
Yeah.
So
definitely just be yourself, like you say, be genuine, but more importantly, just be yourself.
Be yourself.
And
yeah.
I know, like you said, back then there was no social media, let alone a phone texting, and wasn't much of that going on. So
there was none of that going on.
Like, yeah, exactly. It wasn't none of that.
But every Friday, they would have a party.
Mm-hmm.
So you go to the Friday night parties after the football game. Everybody go to the party for a little while.
Right.
It probably lasts about 11:30.
Mm-hmm.
But people always had a place to meet up.
Mm-hmm.
So you go to that party, and that's how you interact with people and meet people. And as for a dance, people don't dance these days. Do they even have party for kids these days?
Maybe every now and then, but it's definitely parties. Just not for kids though. It ain't. I don't know about no high school parties.
Yeah, we always had high school party.
Yeah, it wasn't no house party. See, y'all got them. Y'all had house party days.
We was
at the movies.
Actually at the club.
Yeah.
So we had what they called the Elks Club, and there was one little place they used to call the Hood. And and our favorite DJ was also the chemistry teacher.
Chemistry teacher, the DJ, man, that's wild, for real.
Chemistry teacher by day, DJ by night.
Only thing I can remember, now that you say that, I remember, just as a kid, like you were talking about it, like a kid party, they did have, they called it teen nights.
Mm-hmm.
That's where we'll go to like a skate zone or a cascade.
Right. Most of y'all get together where like skating rings and bowling alleys and stuff like that.
Yeah. But that's similar, something like that. Teen night, you just going, ain't nothing but really ain't skating. We on the floor. Like you said, we trying to talk to something. We trying to get some dances or something.
Right. But that's how, that's how dating is. You got to be able to interact with people and be yourself, like you said, be yourself and be genuine. I mean, you go in there and, acting like you this and that, and that's not you.
Exactly.
It's easy to see. It's easy to pick that out. Oh, man, this joker fake.
Social media is just definitely ruining personal interactions and actually going out, and like you said, you'll have to meet somebody in person or, get together versus nowadays, people living on the internet, they just sending DMs and that's all they doing now. A lot of people might not even go out or have a good social interaction. All right, so what do you think about the future of television or movie theaters? Do you think streaming would kill them?
Streaming is killing them already. If you look at it, there's been a lot of theaters that's closing. I think AMC just mentioned something about closing so many of their theaters in the near future. And then you look at, most movies are like maybe an hour and a half. When we became accustomed to having 2-hour movies, so the movies are getting shorter. They're not staying in the movie theaters as long. And I don't know, it seems like people can entertain themselves at home versus being at a theater because you don't really get enough out of the theater. So I'm at home, I can go, make me a drink. They got theaters that do sell alcohol, but you're paying $20 to get into the movie.
Right.
By the time you get 2 alcoholic beverages, that's another $20. If you don't get snacks or anything, before you know it, 2 people at a movie, you're gonna spend $150.
Yeah.
I mean, I can stream that same movie, or say, what they call it, the rent on TV, $8.99 or something like that.
Yep.
Or if you got streaming devices, or you paying a streaming service, you get to see those movies maybe 2 weeks after they're released for much of nothing. And you got all the amenities that you want at home.
Yeah, that's true.
So streaming services are going to run theaters out of business, but it's interesting to see how streaming services is going to help to the movie industry itself.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're always streaming movies, how are these actors and actresses going to get paid?
I mean, yeah, that's definitely something interesting to think about because, it'll just be, they'll say how a movie has done over the number of sales, or like they say box office sales.
Right.
But if, the movie theaters itself are just, they're not getting as many sales, that's where, like you said, a streaming service like a Netflix come in. Netflix would buy the movie or whatever to put them on their platform. But it is kind of like interesting to see or think just like how would the actors get paid. But even some actors, some big actors, big names that they really don't even get much of like a big paycheck, put it that way.
Right.
But it is something to see how moving forward, how these streaming services, how would these actors be paid?
Right, and then with the variety of streaming services, are these streaming services gonna buy the movie out, like you say, and then put it on their platform? And when they buy the movie out, are them the ones that pay the actors and actresses? Then you still got people that set up the movies, people that
Right.
Produce the movies.
Yeah, it's just
a lot of people you gotta pay.
It's a lot of people behind producing the movie, like you said. The actors itself, directors, camera people, microphone. It's so many different aspects of creating that movie. But I would feel, I'm not sure, like I said, the Netflix will actually buy the movie itself, but I know, because like on these platforms, they'll have it for a certain amount of time.
Right.
It's not like they keep it on there forever. So I'm pretty sure.
And then, some of these platforms have like Netflix and Prime original, Netflix original.
Exactly. Like a Netflix show or a special, what they call it.
Right. That they actually, only place you can see it is on their platform.
Exactly. But yeah, I definitely feel, like you said, these streaming itself has already made an impact in the movie world and television. It's like people don't even care to go to the movies. Well, especially after COVID, really 2020, that's when everything started to change. More innovations, different people looking at things differently, really, and just creating something to make everything better for everyone. But not only like we were mentioning these movie theaters, or not only movies and TV shows, but it's a whole lot of different streaming devices or platforms, I want to say. We mentioned Netflix, Prime. There's also, YouTube, which is constantly growing. You can post any type of content on there. People can watch something to help them learn something new, or just different aspects, really. Yeah. And all of these different streaming platforms, even streamers themselves, like a Castanet, or this guy named Platboy Max. I know you probably haven't heard of him, but it's just they're drawing more attention to the streamers in the streaming world itself, and it's making an impact on social media and a big presence in the music as well.
Right.
Speaking on the music industry, it's definitely changing. It's changing the game, really.
Yeah.
And it's just continuously growing.
What do you think about how education fits into this new technology and social media and streaming and all that?
Everything is definitely online. Everything can be found online, really. And you mentioned education is like, even back then, that's a great, analogy if you just think about it. Old school, there was no online courses.
Online. You had to go to the library, actually check out a book to do a book report. Now you can Google it. You can Google certain aspects of whatever your topic of concern, and boop, pops right up.
Yeah, that's the impact of technology. A lot of different, and especially education is definitely going to help, but it also can.
It can also hinder you.
Yeah, not only like the social aspect, like you say, like people having online classes versus going to, you know, an actual school and sitting in front of the teacher in the classroom. Some people may need that, like, you know, sitting in that atmosphere, being able to actually communicate, interact with different peers and your teacher personally versus having to look everything up online. And it's really like you working, you depending on the things that you see, the things you find online and your own knowledge. It's like you're working for yourself.
Yeah, you're teaching yourself, really.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah.
So let's talk about these college athletes, man. Do you think getting paid is helping? You think it's a good thing or a bad thing for the world of sports?
Well, it's both. It's a combination of both. My thing is, okay, these college athletes, they work their butts off, you know, for that school to make money. The only thing they get in return was free education up until now to NIL. However, there's a big separation in NIL money, and that's based on actual schools. So if you got this one school over here that you know makes so many billions of dollars on athletics, they can offer more money to these athletes as compared to a smaller school, you know, that may not make as much money on athletics. And then there's a separation of he's the quarterback, so he gets the most amount of money. What about the rest of the team? What about the other athletic, sports?
Other departments,
Yeah, like your baseball, your track and field, lacrosse. How are those athletes getting compensated? Are they even matching what a football player makes?
Yeah, that's a good point there.
And then now I'm looking at seeing some players are actually leaving a school because they want to get more money and not actually being there for that sport.
Exactly.
So it looks like they're more into it for the money than for the sport, and I think it need to be regulated.
Like you said, I definitely agree. It's a good thing and a bad thing. I mean, the bad side would be what you mentioned, just people or players, student athletes leaving. You see it a lot of days. I mean, you see it a lot more now, especially they going in the transfer portal. It's like year after year, they just basically chasing the biggest offer that they have, the most money that they can make at that time.
Right.
And I mean, it's good for them, you know, it helps them feed their family or whatever, but the bad thing is like, it's, in my opinion, really is hurting the world of sports itself.
Well,
and
college
like,
sports anyway.
It's like, I remember seeing what Coach Prime, he said, basically, you know, Colorado, he's like, we're recruiting players, you know, we're looking for people who actually love the game.
Right.
Not who just want the money.
If you mention anything about money, you're not a player for me. I remember him saying that as well. But then there's one of these linebackers that threatened to leave a school if they didn't give him a certain amount of money every month, a starting position.
Wow.
And so many snaps on the field.
See, man,
I'm like, what is that? Are you here to play football or are you here to negotiate for a job? But see, I like how SMU is doing it. Every athlete gets $40,000.
Oh, really?
On top of their tuition. And they still can earn NIL money through other avenues.
Exactly.
But the school giving you $3 million, I don't believe in that. There should be some type of regulation on how much a school can actually give you. Because like I mentioned, some schools make a whole lot more money than other schools. So they're going to attract those players because they can give them more money. I mean, you can't even do that in the NFL now. You can't just say, hey, we make the most amount of money because there's salary cap stipulations.
Okay, let's talk about this bird flu outbreak.
Oh.
Talk about this bird flu and everything stemming around this virus. According to the CDC, as of January 2025, there's been 66 confirmed human cases in the United States since 2024. This is the first person in the United States who has died as a result of an H5 infection, but outside of the U.S., more than 950 cases of the bird flu has been reported to the World Health Organization, and about half of those has resulted in a death. So how do you feel about the bird flu and all this stuff stemming around this? Because it's actually been around for ages.
It's been around for ages. We had, in the United States, we got FDA. They have people that actually work on how to stop the spread of bird flu. I think it's the FDA. One of these organizations, one of these federal organizations.
FDA, WHO, CDC.
Yeah.
Somebody.
Yeah.
One of them federal companies.
Yeah, one of them alphabet.
Somebody in the government, yeah, one of them ABCs.
But yeah, I think it's publicized the way it is, but I don't think those numbers are really actual. I think it might be more propaganda than anything, because if you look at the price of eggs, $7 and some change for an 18-pack of eggs at one local store. The other store, a mile away, 18-pack of eggs, $4 and some change. Why is there a big discrepancy in the egg price? I mean, if the bird flu is so spread and so dominant at the moment, it shouldn't be a big discrepancy from two stores, two different brands, a mile away from each other.
Should be a very tight competition.
Right, and so I was reading somewhere that in the United States, the average cost of a dozen eggs is $3.42. And we were ranked in the middle as compared to other countries. You had some countries that a dozen of eggs were $2 and some change, like $2.35. So, like you said, it's not just in the United States. Bird flu is all, throughout other countries as well.
Right.
But I even saw a post where people in other countries were in the store showing how much the eggs cost in their stores.
The different prices.
The different prices. And all the prices were way lower than what's in the United States, what's in our area here. All right, Tigg. Well, great talk once again. I appreciate it.
Most definitely. Always. It's a pleasure hanging with Tigg and Pops, you know what I'm saying? Kicking it with Pops.
If you got any comments, y'all please comment. Anything you want us to talk about in general, please let us know. We're listening. All ears are open. All topics are considered.
And also, like, comment, subscribe, turn your notification bell. Catch us on the next episode.